When you think of a Viking, you picture the brute, the wild-eyed berserker, axe in hand, screaming for Odin as he leaps onto a foreign shore. He's a mountain of muscle and rage, maybe with a horned helmet, even though they absolutely never wore those. He is the stereotype, the poster boy for the Viking Age. Now, forget him. He's just the muscle. He's the cargo. You are the one that matters. You are the navigator. You're not the strongest man on the Longship, nor the fiercest, but you are by far the most important, the one man whose death dooms the entire expedition. Welcome to What If You Were, the channel that ignores the screaming warriors to focus on the long-suffering experts who made their rampages possible. Today, you're not a raider, you are the highly specialized, underappreciated logistical genius for a seafaring armed robbery. Let's get this straight. You are not just the guy who steers. You are a master of a subtle and incredibly difficult science in an age before maps, before compasses, before GPS. You are a combination of astronomer, meteorologist, marine biologist, and walking encyclopedia of coastal geography. While the other men spend the winter sharpening their axes, you spend it studying star charts memorized from your youth, carving calibration marks into your sun compass, and talking to older sailors about obscure currents and the migratory patterns of puffins. Your brain, not your bicep, is the most valuable weapon in your village's arsenal. Your office is the Longship, a masterpiece of naval engineering. Forget the bulky galleons of later eras. Your ship, Asthekia or Drakor, is a sleek, clinker-built vessel, long and narrow, with a terrifying dragon head carved into its prow. Its most important feature is its shallow draft, meaning it can float in just a few feet of water. This is your secret weapon. It allows you to ignore fortified harbors and instead sail right up shallow rivers, appearing as if from nowhere at the back door of some wealthy, unsuspecting monastery. But for all its strategic genius, living on it is a nightmare. It's essentially an open-topped canoe, completely exposed to the elements. It's cramped, with dozens of men packed together with their weapons, supplies, and any treasure you manage to acquire. The boat is constantly wet, slick with sea spray and rain. It smells of damp wool, stale sweat, dried fish, and the ever-present stench of seasickness. This is not a glorious vessel of conquest. It is a cold, wet, stinking means to an end. Your toolkit is not made of iron and steel, but of wood, stone, and observation. For daytime navigation, your primary tool is the sun. On a clear day, you use a sun compass, a simple but brilliant device. It's a wooden disc with a central pin, or gnomon. By observing the shadow the pin casts throughout the day, you can establish a north-south line and track your latitude with surprising accuracy. On cloudy days, the real magic happens. You pull out your solar stein, your sunstone. This is likely a piece of calcite, or iolite, a crystal that polarizes light. By rotating the stone and looking through it at the overcast sky, you can find the brightest point, revealing the hidden position of the sun. It's not magic, it's physics. But to the illiterate axeman on your boat, you might as well be a sorcerer. Part 2. The Gray. Endless Misery. Once you leave the familiar sight of your home fjord, your true test begins. You are now in the Havila, the trackless wilderness of the open sea. For days, even weeks, you see nothing but an endless expanse of churning, gray water and a matching gray sky. The psychological toll is immense. The world shrinks to the confines of your 60-foot boat. The diet is a monotonous and miserable rotation of hardtack, a rock-hard biscuit guaranteed to test your dental fortitude, dried and salted fish, and a few barrels of stale water or weak ale. There is no shelter from the elements. If it rains, you are soaked. If the waves are high, you are soaked. You spend the entire voyage in a state of perpetual dampness, a chill that seeps into your bones and never leaves. Sleep is a luxury, taken in short, shivering bursts, huddled under a woolen cloak. Your job is one of constant, unwavering focus. Every moment, you are observing. You watch the sun's arc. At night, you watch the North Star. You read the color of the water, looking for the murky green that signals a river outflow from unseen land. You watch the flight patterns of gannets and guillemots, knowing that certain birds only fly a certain distance from their nests. You read the clouds on the horizon, which can indicate land long before it is visible. You even feel the pattern of the waves, the long, rolling swells of the deep ocean versus the choppier waves that have rebounded off a distant coastline. You are processing a constant stream of natural data, performing complex calculations in your head. One mistake, one misremembered detail, and you could miss England entirely and end up in the frozen abyss of the North Atlantic. This life of instinct, observation, and bone-deep knowledge of the natural world is the polar opposite of the life of an Egyptian scribe, who we talked about in our last video. Your university was the open ocean. His was a stuffy room filled with papyrus. You read the waves. He read spreadsheets. Two completely different paths to becoming a vital, underappreciated expert. Then comes the storm. It arrives with little warning. A black wall of clouds on the horizon. The wind howls like a hungry wolf. The gray sea transforms into a nightmare of mountainous black waves that crash over the sides of your open boat, threatening to swamp it. The temperature plummets. Your magnificent sail is torn down. And now the ship is at the mercy of the sea. Dozens of men grab oars, not to propel the ship forward, but simply to keep its nose pointed into the waves, to prevent it from being swamped and capsized. It is a desperate, exhausting battle against nature. You are inside a wooden shell, being tossed around by a force that could splinter it to pieces at any moment. The dragon on your prow dips under the waves, then rockets skyward, groaning. Men are vomiting from seasickness. Their knuckles are white as they cling to the sides. This is the moment you pray to Ran, the goddess of the sea, to spare you, and to Thor to beat back the tempest. Your skill as a navigator is now about survival, about keeping the ship oriented, hoping you can get a glimpse of the sun or stars to reorient yourself when the chaos finally ends. Let's say you've successfully guided the fleet to the shores of England. The raid leader, a man of great courage and little patience, wants to attack the fat, rich monastery you've spotted immediately. But you, the navigator, have noticed the tides are turning and the wind is shifting, indicating a storm is brewing. You advise waiting a day for better conditions to ensure a safe escape with the treasure. He calls you a coward in front of the crew. Do you press the issue, risking your reputation and a potential challenge for being insubordinate? Or do you fall in line and let the raid proceed, risking being trapped on a hostile shore? Tell me what you would do in the comments. Part 3. The business of plunder. If your calculations were correct, you have arrived at the perfect target. A place like Lindisfarne, a holy island monastery, filled with gold and silver relics, inhabited by peaceful, unarmed monks. For the raiders, this is the jackpot. For you, it's the beginning of the most stressful part of your job. As the warriors leap from the boat, screaming their battle cries, your role changes. You are not on the front lines. You, along with a few others, are tasked with guarding the ship. The Longship is your only way home, your most valuable piece of equipment, worth more than any single man. You stand guard, watching the shore, listening to the distant sounds of violence, the screams and the splintering of wood. You are the getaway driver. After a few hours, the men return. They are blood-spattered, but jubilant, carrying chalices, jeweled crosses, and terrified captives. The loot is loaded, the ship is pushed back into the water, and the oarsmen pull hard to get away before any local lore can muster a response. The journey home is arguably more dangerous than the journey out. Your ship is now heavier and slower, laden with treasure. You are a fat, tempting target for other Vikings who might be lurking along the shipping lanes, happy to let you do the hard work of raiding before taking the spoils for themselves. Your navigation must be flawless, perhaps taking a longer, more obscure route to avoid pirates. The tension is even higher on the return trip. You finally see the familiar coastline of your home. You have made it. Back in your village, the treasure is divided. As the navigator, the man whose skill made the entire venture possible, you receive a prime share, more than a common warrior, but less than the raid leader. With your silver, you can buy more land, improve your farm, attract a better marriage, and increase your standing in the community. You are not a full-time warrior. You are a farmer, a trader, a family man. Raiding is a seasonal, high-risk, higher-reward business venture. You will repair your ship, mend your sayu, and return to your normal life, telling stories of your great voyage in the longhouse during the winter. And you will wait. You will wait for the spring, for the ice to clear, for the call of the open sea, and the promise of foreign silver. So, what if you were a Viking navigator? You would be one of the most respected and indispensable members of your society, a man of science and observation in an age of superstition and violence. You would live a life of stark contrasts, alternating between the quiet toil of your farm and the terrifying chaos of the open sea. You would not be the savage in the stories, but the quiet, calculating mind that aimed the savagery like a weapon. Your life would be a testament to the fact that the most destructive force in history is not brute strength alone, but brute strength guided by a sharp, intelligent, and focused mind. Your legacy is not in the monasteries you helped burn, but in the invisible pathways you charted across the sea, opening up the world for better, and for much, much worse. Did you enjoy this trip into the impossible? Check out our other videos here, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next What If You Were.